Hi everybody, I'm Susie from Money A+E. Today I'm really pleased to be joined by Father Sean Connolly. Father Sean leads St Stephen's Catholic Church in Manor Park in Newham, and the experience of his parishioners around housing led him to become involved in campaigns for more affordable housing in the borough of Newham, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So Father Sean, thank you very much for joining me today and welcome.
Thank you, it's a great pleasure to be here.
Same here. My first question for you is, why is housing such an important issue in Newham at the moment?
I think that housing is an important issue, not just in Newham, across London, probably across the whole country. It's important from a faith perspective. I think there's something really, really important for human beings to feel at home. And so if you don't have that experience of being at home, then you're missing out on something that is fundamental to you as a human being, and that's what we're kind of facing. There's theological issues as well around the idea about land, who owns land. And the idea of land and homes being just commodities that we buy and sell, rather than, so we're talking about houses rather than homes, places for people to live and to create communities. And in a sense, so again, from a faith perspective, talk about, all the goods of the earth are given to us by God for us to share, and nobody owns anything absolutely. If there are people in need, then we should be sharing them, and that's clearly not happening, and that's one reason why we're in the crisis that we're in. I think it's been said that if there are people who are homeless, then there's a sense in which we're all homeless. As human beings, then we're diminished by that. Then there's obviously a community side to that as well. Very practical things. What happens about key workers. We've talked a lot about key workers during the pandemic, but people like nurses and teachers and many, many more who can't afford homes. So how can we build a community here in Newham if people like that can't afford to live here? One of the people that I work with is a teacher in one of the local primary schools, and she's doing great work in that school. But she was born in Newham, but she's had to move out of Newham because she can't afford to live here. And she makes the effort to come every day to the school, but that's a big effort. And and broader than that, there's a whole churn of people moving in and out all the time, and it's really hard to have any sense of community. All the threads, all that sort of network of people is just so hard to put together when it's constantly being torn apart, because people just have to move out because they can't stay here. So there's lots of issues there.
I guess that sense of instability affects us in our overall well-being and our spiritual self, if you like. I guess the two are maybe connected. That makes sense. And what's your experience with these issues leading your parish?
We try and reach out to people in our church, and we try and support people, and people get involved with the life of the church and are supporting other people and so on. And there's the kind of friendships that develop and so on. And then suddenly people just are moved far away. They're taken away from that network. that diminishes us. It's hard for those people. They're just suddenly taken out of there and plonked into another place somewhere where they've got to start all over again with all those networks. But it leaves a hole in our community too, so that happens a lot. We have a school next door, St Winifred's, and they struggle too with children in classes who are then just suddenly moved. That makes a huge difference to them in what they're doing.
I know that's a big issue across Newham and London, is the issue of churn for schools, isn't it? Of being the difficulties in teaching a class throughout a school year when a high percentage, or a significantly high percentage of families are being moved around. And you campaigned with the East London Citizens Organisation for more affordable housing in the Olympic site. Can you tell me a bit more about that and what led to that campaign?
That's a long story. goes back to 2004, I think, when Ken Livingstone was campaigning to be elected as Mayor of London, and I stood on a stage with him when he promised to build London's first community land trust, which was a scheme that we were working on to build affordable housing, genuinely affordable housing. And I learned some lessons in the aftermath of that, just how complicated this is. And just, it takes a long time. You need a lot of patience if you're going to do any work around housing. You don't get easy results. And it took a long time before we built the first CLT in Mile End at the old St Clement's Hospital site. And that's been held up as a great example of what can be done about community-led housing that's genuinely affordable and remains genuinely affordable for generations. And then promises were made around the Olympic Park then, and were connected with this, that CLTs would be built on the Olympic Park. So we've had a real push to really hold people, the Legacy Corporation, to account, so that there is genuinely affordable housing on the Olympic Park. We have good people who understand the difficulties and the detail of it. And so I think things are beginning to happen there. We're beginning to have our voice heard in the right places.
From your experience campaigning on that issue, what would you say that we as community leaders, or just as ordinary people, can do to make a difference to housing in London and tackling the housing issues that we face?
I think there's two things. One is to, sit up and take notice of what's going on around you. Kind of take ownership of where you live. Look around you, see what's happening. It doesn't just, have to just happen. It will just happen around you if you don't do anything about it. But look what's happening. I think one of the things in Citizens has been to look at the places around you, look at look at what's being built, and to have a voice about that, and so you have to notice, so you have to kind of wake up to what's going on around you. And then I think is get together with people. I think that's really, really important. There's a whole thing about our society has become so fractured, and we're so driven apart from each other. And one of the things that organising has done me has been to, understand how important groups coming together, institutions, organizations, community groups, whatever they are, they're just good things for people being together. I know that institutions haven't had a good press, in modern times, but there's something about the importance of being together, those relationships that we build with one another. And it makes us stronger, it makes us more powerful. Though, I can't do anything on my own. But if I get together with people who care about stuff and who want to do something, then there's some possibility that we can do that.
Yeah.
And the great thing of organising for me has been not just that then, we as a Catholic church, that we do that, but then that we can work with others and people who are different from us, but we share some values, and we can try and do something together. So, I think people, get together with others, talk to people, find out what other people care about, find people who care about the thing you care about.
It's one of the two, it's said to be two of the ingredients that are essential for human happiness, isn't it? To connection with others and a sense of purpose. So you're bringing together those two precise things, and also hopefully making a positive change for the community. And I guess also that's the model of Citizens UK in essence, isn't it? Bringing together lots of different organisations. And at Money A+E, we're really pleased to be a part of that as well. Looking to the future, well, it's not the future anymore. I was going to say, what are your focuses for 2021? But it's not the future, it's the present now. So what are you working on in 2021?
Around housing. I think that the local is really, really important. It's really important to be rooted somewhere. And so within Newham, Newham Citizens has joined together in an alliance with E16 CLT, who have been campaigning to bring the first CLT to Newham, which our mayor has promised to do, and this is in Custom House. So as part of that alliance, I have joined the board of E16, and so we're trying to help them to do the work that they are doing, because they've worked really hard in a very particular place, very locally, and they have a CLT scheme that the council are on the verge of agreeing to after a lot of work. So we're trying to support them and help that to become a reality this year. And, we hope that building will start happening this year on that site. But for us as Newham Citizens, we have a longer aim that first CLT will be a model for the rest of the borough, so that when whatever developments happen, and we know that there are lots and lots of them happening around the borough, that CLTs are part of it, because they're really a beacon to community-led housing that's genuinely affordable. And it's kind of changing that culture at the heart of housing. And if that culture is there, and the community are really embedded in that, and the result is genuinely affordable housing, then it's going to help build our communities and sustain them in the long run. So that's a really important thing to happen this year, I think. Be it beyond housing, I mean there's just I think it's really, really hard to know. I think that's the thing. There's lots of people talking about, what's the future going to be, within our church and beyond. What's society going to be like, and how we're going to emerge from all of this. And the more I've kind of listened to all of that, I feel a sense of, well, we really don't know.
Yes.
We really don't know.
I agree. I
And
agree.
let's wait and see. You know, we you know, clearly, I mean, for us in the church, things are going to be very, very different. Lots of the things that we've taken for granted are not going to be there. And lots of the things that we thought we always had to do, you know, we just won't be doing. I think there's going to be a period of grieving. You know, we've lost a lot of people, and we've lost a lot of things, and you know, we need to grieve for those people and for those things. But I, you know, I hope that what we, you know, if we build the relationships between one another in the church and beyond, then, you know, we'll be a more powerful church. We'll be able to do the things that we want to do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Brother Sean, for talking to me. It's been a real pleasure.